Alright guys, today we're going to be taking a look at Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2! No more battle for you! Heard that once at a Games Workshop when I was walking by in the mall. Dude was standing on a table. No more battle for you! Fucking yelling at the kids and shit. Anyways, this game was developed by Saber Interactive and produced by Focus Entertainment. Saber Interactive has dabbled in a variety of different projects over the years, from developing the game Time Shift in 2007 to helping on the development of Halo Master Chief Collection to working on World War Z. So they've been around for a while, honestly. So yeah, in Space Marine 2, you embody the superhuman skill and brutality of a Space Marine, unleashing deadly abilities and devastating weaponry to obliterate the relentless Tyranid swarms. And that pretty much sums up the game and story. Your job is to go in and kill the heretics. Pretty self-explanatory. It's badass. You play as Titus, a lieutenant of the Ultramarines chapter and the returning protagonist from the first game. And this game is considered a third-person shooter hack and slash. And it really lives up to that, too. Alright, so let's dive into the gameplay. Let's talk about some of the good aspects of it. First off, this game is fucking brutal! I love the absolute bloody brutality of this game. It's fucking badass. You blow a Tyranid's wig back, you parry another one and crush its skull in your hand, and then you bust out your chainsaw sword and start the ripping and the tearing. The ripping and the tearing, you know? And after all that, your character is painted red from head to toe, as it should be. The gore adds so much to the gameplay because it helps to make you feel accomplished after a hard-fought battle. I mean, everybody's just painted red from head to toe. As soon as I started playing this game, the gameplay gave off an old-school Gears of War 1 feel to me, in a good way, a really good way. The movement and characters feel like they have weight to them. You really feel like a badass Space Marine when you're just walking through everything that gets in your way. I mean, you literally just walk through it. You walk through a graveyard and just crush all the graves under you, or you walk through barrels and they just go flying out of your way. It's very satisfying and it helps make you feel like an unstoppable Space Marine. There is no cover system in this game like in Gears of War, but the sprinting and dodge rolling feel very similar to it. At first I kind of wanted a cover system, but then I realized I liked this system way better because I can freely dodge around and not constantly stick to every piece of cover known to man. And you also have the ability to parry attacks, which adds a nice nuance to combat too. There is a decent selection of weapons that you can unlock or pick up on the battlefield. The bolt rifles and pistols give you that Gears Lancer pistol feel, and the plasma weapons provide variety and have their place. They also have melee weapons and they all have unique styles to them, which allows you to play how you like. The melee weapons range from a combat knife, a power sword, a heavy hammer, and of course, the best weapon of them all, the chainsaw sword, boys. Each of those weapons have different fighting styles and combos for you to utilize, like I said. It's pretty fun to try out the different melee weapon execution animations. Oh boy, the execution animations. The executions give off a Doom Eternal feel to me. So when you get an enemy's health low enough, they start to stagger and flash red. And then you can run up and click the right stick and do an execution animation. And the executions are absolute badassery and I loved utilizing them. Just ripping someone's head off and shoving it down their throat, or ripping their claws off their arm and cutting their own head off with their arm. So fun. Each Space Marine also has access to an ability that is specific to their class. One might have a jump pack to fly up in the air, one might get enraged and start doing more damage, and so on. In the campaign, you play as Titus, and he has his own ability, but if you play the campaign co-op, like I did, I was not hosting, so I was one of the other guys, Gadriel, in the group. So he had his own ability, but you can't change that in the campaign. The campaign maps are fairly linear with a few paths here and there, leading to data slate collectibles, but you never feel like you don't know where you're supposed to go or what you're supposed to be doing. They do a good job of keeping the ass kicking steady, and it's very much appreciated. The campaign is also not very long, but it's very fun to play through, so not really a big deal. I've already played through the campaign twice and I still can't get enough. And it's also co-op, so that really adds to the fun. After the campaign, you have the options of playing either Operations Mode or PvP multiplayer. And Operations Mode is a separate cooperative mode that you can play. In some ways, it's like a horde mode with objectives, but it's pretty damn fun and replayable. And you can play on harder difficulties, and you get currency and unlocks from doing them, so there is an incentive there. But surprisingly, to me, boys, the PvP multiplayer modes are where it's at in this game. There's 3 different 6v6 PvP modes to choose from. You got Annihilation, which is their standard team deathmatch. You got Seize Ground, in which you try to capture points, and you got Capture and Control, which is a different variation of capturing a point. I couldn't believe how good the PvP was. I really couldn't, and here's why. You can only have a 3-man squad, so any game you go into, you won't ever have a fully stacked team. That's great. You won't ever feel like you're completely outmanned or outgunned because everyone has to have at least 2 full teams. That's the best they can do, and they can't go into the game together, so I like that. The matches seem to be pretty even that way. There doesn't seem to be any skill-based matchmaking going on. Can you believe that? And you actually, get this, you actually stay in the lobbies once the match is over. Holy shit. Can you believe that? You can actually stay in a lobby all night with the same people and kick each other's asses like the good old Call of Duty days. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it when I saw it. I feel like it's been so damn long since I've played a modern multiplayer game where you stay in the damn lobby. What a crazy concept. So many times I played the whole night. The same group of guys pretty much. Maybe one guy would trickle in here, trickle out here and there. But when you're kicking people's asses, people don't want to leave. We didn't have to talk to them. We were playing with... I didn't even talk to some of these guys. We played all night. We played like 3-4 hours. Just beating the shit out of people. It was a good time. I missed that. Like I said earlier, you have different classes to choose from to fit your playstyle or your team composition. Now, when I was playing, sometimes I felt like there's a hint of Overwatch in there. Like when I'm playing a Bulwark, which is one of the classes, it's got the shield, and he drops this thing that recharges people's armor. When I was playing a Bulwark and shielding damage while people shoot from behind me, I was having Reinhardt flashbacks, just sitting up there bouncing grenades off the shield and covering the heavies and stuff. The classes seem pretty balanced so far, with each having strengths and weaknesses, so pick your poison, boys. None of the weapons feel overpowered or imbalanced. It's surprising, but they feel pretty good so far. Who knows if they'll mess it up with their own game updates akin to Helldivers or something, but we'll see. As of right now, it's pretty awesome. But the best part of the multiplayer for me was the maps. And the funny thing about it is that we kept playing on the same, like, 4 or 5 maps. Same 4 or 5 maps. And that might be the only maps the game has right now. I honestly didn't look up how many maps it has. But it didn't fucking matter because the map design on all of them is awesome. All of the maps were just basic maps with a few lanes, good cover, and all of the maps for the most part were fucking symmetrical. I can't stress that enough. It reminded me so much of Gears of War 1 and how the multiplayer maps are pretty much identical for both sides. So it took the same amount of time to run to a spot from spawn for each team. I was amazed at how much fun we were having on these basic maps with only a few lanes. And this made me realize that good games don't need 20 maps with 1,000 lines of sight at each angle. They just need to be fair and symmetrical. And people will play them over and over again. If you play this game, you'll see what I mean. The maps are basic as fuck, but they are also some of the best, in my opinion. So, I've been wanting a multiplayer game that took those good concepts from old Gears of War and other games and mashed them into one, and I finally got it. It's just good old-fashioned fun. This is my new go-to game to jump on with a few friends, play a few rounds, have some laughs, and keep it moving. It's not hard to get into, it's straightforward, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. Alright, well, let's move on to the bad aspects of the gameplay. Playing through the campaign solo, your AI teammates can be a little suspect. I mean, sometimes you watch them as they don't really shoot at anything while you're getting absolutely swarmed, wondering, what the fuck are you doing? Shoot these motherfuckers! This usually happened to me when I was at a boss fight, and as I played more, I started to think that maybe they were programmed to let you do the work on the bosses, because it seemed to only be bad during those moments. But even though the AI was bad in that regard, they still were quick to get to me and pick me up if I did go down and start bleeding out. You know, like Gears of War, I'm bleeding out. So that was good. I mean, it seemed like they were programmed to beeline it to you as soon as you went down. Like, I'm bleeding out. Fucking Marcus Phoenix style, they'd run over and pick you up. But be careful when playing the campaign, as I did my first playthrough co-op, and my friend was hosting, and I didn't get the progress on my campaign when we finished. I still retained the data slates and collectibles that we found, but when I went back to my solo game, I was still on the first mission, which sucked, but it is what it is. I just played through the game again solo because it's a blast and I didn't mind at all, honestly. But the worst aspect of this game by far has been the server issues. This game has been plagued by server issues since day one. I did play last night and they seem to be hopefully recovering, but it was also not Friday night or Saturday night. Hopefully they get the server issues sorted out. But especially on the weekend, we had to just move on and play something else because we couldn't find matches. And that happened multiple times, and if they don't get those server issues sorted out, like yesterday, this game might die before it takes off. And that would be really sad, honestly, because the game itself kicks ass. I don't understand why modern games continue to suffer from these fucking server issues. So many good games have been destroyed by shitty servers. These companies always respond the same fucking way too. Oh, we didn't know that there would be that many people, so we're trying to adjust the server issues now. No, that's not fucking good enough. We have the technology, and half of these companies have more than enough money to have smooth running servers day one. Server issues are easily solved. They're probably the easiest thing to solve about your game. And I'm sick of these companies acting like it's not. Fix your fucking servers. Alright, so to summarize the gameplay, overall, I absolutely loved this game. It was over-the-top gory and over-the-top brutal. The combat was fun, and it was very satisfying to smash your way through the Tyranid armies, ripping them limb from limb. These devs seemed to pull a few of the best aspects from other games of the past, and somehow found a way to mash them together perfectly. From the Gears of War combat and map design, to the Doom Eternal executions, to the Overwatch group PvP battles, to the old school non-skill based matchmaking multiplayer, this game just gives players what they want. A good, fun game. And having said all that, I could easily see this game dying a quick death if the server issues are not addressed quickly. Like I said, it'd be very sad to see, but if that happens, the devs have no one to blame but themselves. Alright, moving on to the visuals, the good aspects of it. Graphically, the game looks phenomenal. It has this grittiness to it that I very much appreciated. The gore and brutality add to the grit, but they did a great job of capturing that dark dystopian Warhammer feel. Player models are well done, and the cosmetics on the Space Marine suits are badass. You can unlock different Space Marine chapter uniforms to outfit your Space Marine, which is a nice touch. The animations, especially the executions, are so satisfying too. The different ways to rip limbs off and shove them down the enemy's throat is just amazing and never gets old. You can tell that the devs cared about the Warhammer lore, as seen by the very detailed cosmetics and background atmosphere of the game, so good job on them for giving that to the Warhammer fans. Alright, the bad aspects of the visuals. In the beginning, I had to struggle with the graphics settings quite a bit to get this game to run smooth, but even then I still wasn't satisfied, but it was good enough. No matter what I did, the shadows always looked blocky and weird during the cutscenes. It wasn't terrible though, just some texture pop-ins here and there. Other than that, I really didn't have too many problems with the visuals after fine-tuning my graphics, although I will say that this game does need to be better optimized for the PC, so hopefully they address that in a patch. To summarize the visuals, overall, the visuals are awesome. The graphics are gritty in a modern way, and I liked what they did with the gore effects in this game. That being said, they still need to do quite a bit of optimization to really get it where it needs to be, but still looks fucking fantastic. Alright, moving on to the good aspects of the sound. The sound is very good in this game, and it really helps to add to the brutal atmosphere that is Warhammer 40k. I mean, not only do your Space Marines and the animations have weight to them, but the sound helps to add to that feeling of weightiness, whether it's the sound of crumbling furniture underneath your big ass feet, or the heavy gunshots that ring out from your bolt guns. The sound makes the bullets feel heavy when they go through a skull, you know? The sounds of the ripping and the tearing really help to add to the ferocity of the moment. There's nothing like being in the middle of a Tyranid swarm, being painted red, having no health left, and sawing that last bastard in half with your chainsaw sword to finish him off. All those sounds together make for epic ass battles that leave you saying, "Get some, get some, get some!" in a typical Marine fashion, you know? The voice acting is good and it doesn't really take away from the characters, so that's a good touch. The music in this game also helps to bring the atmosphere alive. I mean, no epic battle can be complete without some badass music blaring in the background, getting you pumped for the ripping and the tearing. Ripping and the tearing. This game's music isn't gonna win any awards for best soundtrack or anything, but the music is definitely good and utilized correctly. Alright, the bad aspects of the sound, I don't really have too many bad things to say about the sound in this game. I had a few times where the sound popped in and out going into or out of a cutscene, but I think that had more to do with the optimization or my rig than anything else. So to summarize the sound is pretty damn good in this game overall. I mean, it adds to the gameplay to help make the Space Marines feel heavy and indestructible. The music makes the battles more epic than they already are. They did a great job with the music and the sound effects in this game, and they should get praise for doing so. We appreciate it. Thank you. Alright, so my final thoughts on this game. This was a complete gem of a game for me. I thought it was going to be fun, but I had no idea I was going to have this much fun with it. I didn't realize that it was going to be old school, no skill-based matchmaking, multiplayer lobbies, and I also didn't realize how much I missed those until this game. The multiplayer aspect of this game alone will keep me playing this game for the next year, so long as the devs don't get in their own way and fuck the game up with patches or decide to not fix the server issues. Please, fix the server issues, patch up the optimization, and let's keep this fucking train rolling. I don't know how they did it, but they managed to take good aspects from other great games and combine them into one to make this basic little shooter that kicks major ass. Just a simple, brutal, fun game that doesn't try to shove any politics down your throat. This game is also proof that toxic masculinity sells, boys. Lame, woke garbage characters and aesthetic like Concord, dead. Super over-the-top, gory, brutal, hyper-masculine space shooter sells millions. The tides are a-changing, boys. So should you buy this game? Yeah! Yes, you should definitely buy this game. The campaign is short, but fun to play through multiple times, but the real reason to get this is the multiplayer. The multiplayer is the best part of this game, and is definitely worth playing. Especially if you've been starved for an old school shooter. I can understand waiting to purchase this game on a sale, but it is worth full price as long as servers are fixed. I haven't had this much fun playing an online shooter in years, so that alone is worth a buy in my book. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you have played it, are you guys enjoying it? Are you playing the multiplayer? Do you guys like the multiplayer as well? Do you hate it? Let me know what you guys think. Alright boys, till next time, I will see you on the flip side. Later.